What's going on, everyone? Hi, back here with another video. Today I'm going to be covering this Super Valkyrie army again because it has been my main army in Legend League. And here's the army. I'm going to show you real quickly. I went plus 320 with it today with ease. And I actually got a couple of decent defenses, so we're going to have a pretty positive day, which is nice. Unfortunately, people are still spamming the disarmers, which are still overpowered, but it is what it is. If people are using other attacks, I'm actually getting some defenses. But this is what I used, went plus 320 with ease. It's actually really strong. So here's the equipment and the army and the clan castle. There will be an army link in the description if you guys just want to copy this. But if your housing space is a little bit different, obviously, you can copy it and just kind of tweak it to what fits for you. I do have 340 housing space, but I know some of you won't have that. So without further ado, let's hop into the first attack and show you guys how this works. All right, so all you're going to do, I like to RC charge in from a corner and just try to break the ring of defenses and set a path just like you would with a Root Rider attack. And I like to send my main push in with either the Kane or the Giant. So I'm going to funnel out this side with the RC charge. Then I'm going to Queen Giant Arrow and Siege Barracks from down here, and the Kane will be picked up to help with that. And then everything else will go in the middle, and then you'll jump into the next layer. So as you see here, if you can pick up the other one, the Giant or the Kane, whichever one you're not going to send your main push through, you can use your RC to get it. And now I'm going to be able to keep both of them invisible for a long time and get just even extra value. And if they stay grouped up, you can actually recall both of them out at the same time and redeploy them together with your main push, which, as you see here, is going to work out perfectly. So I'm using the timing where you drop your invises on 7 and 3 to keep the Fox alive, because it is really important to keep your Fox alive through the main push of the attack. As you see there, we set a nice funnel. We can drop a couple Super Valks there to finish that off. We shoot the Queen's Giant Arrow, get an Ice Golem in a Siege Barracks, and then you want to wall break in those troops. Unfortunately, I was a little bit early on the wall break, so it didn't make it. But you do have 3 wall breakers. You want 1 wall break to break in your main push, and then you're going to use the jump spell, obviously, for the second layer of walls, and then the King's Earthquake Boots will be to get you through the backside walls. So you see here, our Siege Barracks is going to set a really nice funnel over there. We get our jump spell in to path our Super Valkyries and our heroes into the core. Hit a nice Warden ability, and then once they get into the core, I will rage them all up. I rage a little back to make sure the healers are going to get raged up as well to get that healing effect on the heroes and the Super Valks. There we hit the King's Earthquake Boots, opens up the rest of the base. The only thing we didn't have access to was that single Inferno, but look at this. Our Fox, keeping our RC invisible, paths in, takes that out. All of our Siege Barracks troops popped out and are cleaning up all the trash on the outside. We have a nice spread of troops here. Got a Wizard down here to start cleaning up this trash. And then now once your Super Valkyries start dying off, it'll drop miniature rage spells, which will just rage your healers and your heroes through the rest of the base. That's why it's nice to have this many, because you have a couple that die early, which give you rage, then you have a couple die in the core, which gives you more rage, and then you have some die off on the backside. So you basically have constant rage throughout the base. Look at this. This is smashed. We really could swag the RC ability here, which we're going to, and basically everything else full health. We barely even lost anything. Swag the RC ability. Just absolutely smash that base. Let's go find another attack. All right, into the next one. This guy actually has his defending army camps on the inside. But as you see, our 2 friendly ones are exposed up here on opposite corners. We're actually going to go in from the bottom here just to get more value. Maybe trigger that disarmer and be able to fight it on the outside of the base, but it might not work out that way. The disarmer is definitely the most annoying thing in the base. So we're just going to be keeping her invisible. Using that timing I was telling you about, drop your invises on 7 and 3. So the first one you'll drop at 57, then at 53, then at 47, then at 43, so on and so forth. You'll still get a couple seconds out of each cycle from your Spirit Fox, and it just lets you get so much value and still keep that Fox alive to get just... It'll keep your Royal Champion alive for basically the whole attack. That's why it's so good. You set the initial funnel and then keep her up full health with her Spirit Fox, and then she gets a bunch of cycles when other troops are tanking for her. I'm going to get a little bit greedy here and try to take out that Inferno. Unfortunately, we didn't. I didn't want to lose the Fox, but it is what it is. I honestly should have aimed the Giant Arrow at it, but for some reason I wasn't thinking. We wall break in up here with our Siege Barracks and our Queen. So we have access to both of those compartments now. Now we have a nice little jump spell right there that'll give us access to the whole rest of the base pretty much, except for the back side. But that's what the King's Earthquake Boots will be for. Unfortunately, our healers did get hit by a couple air mines or something down here. They did get pretty weak. But we do have the Healing Tome on the Warden, so it's not going to matter. Those will top back off. We are fighting the Disarmer, but we're under the Warden's Eternal Tome. So it'll be no problem whatsoever. We rage through the core here. Just look how much damage these Super Valkyries do when they get into the core. Just completely gut the core paired with the King's Earthquake Boots. And we have all of our healers topped back up to full. Unfortunately, we're kind of pathing around and didn't path into this nasty compartment down here. But it's not going to matter. We pick up the Giant up here with our Wizard. And now that'll start tanking for our siege barracks troops on the outside here. The wizards will be able to support him. And he's really good at breaking through walls as well, so it's nice to have him on the backside of the base just so it's so much damage when he's raged up. We have a nice grouping on all of our troops now. Gonna be no problem. I don't know how many Super Valks we have left, but it doesn't matter. They did their job. They went down on the core, raged up our healers and our heroes, and look, all of our heroes are still healthy. We still have the RC ability. We still have our siege barracks Valkyries on the outside working with the giant and a couple wizards. We actually have to use the RC ability this time. And actually, we do have a lot of Super Valks still alive here. I didn't even see them. I think we have 4 or 5 still alive. So this base, again, was just absolutely crushed. Unfortunately, all our hogs from our hog puppet get wrecked by a couple giant bombs. But it's not going to matter. Our RC's still alive. We still have Super Valks alive. Our King's still alive. Warden's still alive. We still have the giant and some cleanup troops. So again, that base was absolutely smashed. Let's go find another one. Alright, on to yet another one. We have the defending army camps down here by the town hall. Then we have the Kane on the right side and the giant on the left side. So I'm just trying to think of where I want to come in from. We're going to come in from the top corner here. Then we'll send our main push down here through the bottom and get the Kane to group up with them. That'll do a lot of damage. We're going to set a nice funnel up here with the RC. Hopefully she paths towards the scatter shot and not that multi-archer tower, but I guess either way it really doesn't matter. So we're going to go onto the mortar, and she is going to path into the scatter shot, which is perfect. We'll just make this enemy hero invisible, not have to worry about fighting it at all. That is the nice thing about using this. You can go right into heroes and it really doesn't matter because you're staying invisible pretty much the whole time. So you don't really have to worry about them targeting. As you see, we'll just make that invisible, and she's going to path right to this ricochet cannon. We have 1 invis left. So as soon as this ricochet cannon goes down, we're just going to recall her out, not be greedy. No more value to get anyway. So now we have a nice funnel set. We're going to pick up the Kane to push in with our siege barracks troops, which is going to be really powerful. And it's really nice because we're going to be fighting the enemy disarmer here, which is really annoying. Drop everything else in the middle here. We'll wall break them in. I was a little bit late on the wall breaker. Should have wall broke it a little early, but the corner wall is open anyway. So that's why I wasn't too worried about it. Now we have a nice jump spell. Gives us access to this entire core pretty much. Hit a warden ability, which catches damn near everything. We even got the King in there. The King's working on the town hall. Now we just have to look for a good rage spot. We're going to rage right here in the middle. Should be able to rage pretty much everything. Our balloons are still alive, which is nice. They're going to pull all the traps and keep our healers nice and healthy. Now our healers are sitting in the rage spell, just keeping everything full health, which is really nice. We're still fighting off this enemy disarmer down here, which is really annoying, but we did take out the enemy yeeter. Everything grouped up right here in the nasty compartment of the base, but as you see here, we still have our RC ability. Again, the monolith gets absolutely shredded. Got a nice spread on troops here. The King's down here with the giant and a couple wizards. Queen's up here picking off stuff at the top. She unfortunately doesn't have her healers anymore. They must have transferred onto the Super Valks, but that's fine. They're going to push through. They're going to shred through that wall. The Super Valks actually do a pretty good job against walls, which is nice. Watch how quick this giant's going to melt this enemy royal champion. Wow, that was insane. The King and giant just one-tapped that enemy royal champion. Look at this. We have so many Super Valks alive still. We hit our RC ability, which we probably could have swagged. King still stayed up. Queen still full health. Again, this base was absolutely crushed. All 4 heroes still alive, still have healing. Another absolutely crushing 3-star. Let's go find one more. All right, into the final one. This is definitely a little bit different of a base. We got double poison towers. A little bit tougher to path on this one. So I had to think a little bit here where I wanted to send the RC from. And I think I went in from the bottom. Yep, I did. We'll be able to get that multi-gear. Cannon. Ricochet cannon might get the multi-archer tower. It just kind of depends which way she paths. But that's why I like sending from a corner. No matter which way she goes, you can just react and send your main push in the other direction. It really doesn't matter. I had one bad invis placement there, but it's all right. We had to drop another one on 3 anyway, so we really didn't take any damage. We're going to take out this ricochet cannon, and then I'm going to see... I don't know where she's going to path from here. She actually goes into the multi-gear, which is really nice. I wanted to take out this whole bottom corner if I could. I have a couple invises left here, and we path into the monolith. That is perfect. We're going to get the monolith out of the way, and then we'll be able to recall her out. Fox will still be full health. Royal Champion will still be full health. Really good value. Set nice pathing there. Now I should be able to... I think I came in from the right side over here. Yeah, I did. Queen's Giant Arrow picks up the Kane. Kane's going to go in and get wrecked, but it's all right because it'll come back in its second stage and just wreck that yeeter. Should basically one-tap it. Yeah, almost. It's doing a good job tanking. It's not going to get a ton of value, but it takes out a lot of skeletons and stuff like that. And you see this is really nice pathing. So now I can jump up here. That gives us access to the fire spitter and to the town hall compartment. We're going to hit the warden ability once this super dragon starts targeting our troops. And then we will rage. I like to rage over the jump spell basically, because then you know everything is going to get raged as it's jumping through there, no matter which way they go once they pass through the jump spell. So that's what we do right here. Going to rage into the Town Hall compartment here. And then we have rages dropping from our Super Valkyries as well. So everything's basically going to stay raged through the whole backside of the base now. We hit our King's Earthquake Boots, opens up the rest of the base. We drop a Wizard over here to pick up this Giant to start tanking backside defenses. And you can already see this base stands absolutely no chance again. We could probably swag the RC ability again. And I'm saying, I think I only used the RC ability twice out of all 8 of those attacks. This just absolutely shredded bases. And I'm high in Legend League too. I finished around 6,000 trophies when I finished these attacks. So I'm not in low Legend League by any means either. These are good bases that I'm attacking. As you see, a bunch of Super VALKs still alive. Our healers are going down, but it doesn't matter. Look, RC's still full health. We can swag her ability again. The King's basically still full health. Warden's still full health. I think we lost the Queen, but that was it. Trash is going down. This base stood absolutely no chance. Another absolutely crushing 3-star. So for me, I'm really bored of Event Troops and Root Riders, so I've been using this, and let me tell you, I've actually been having better success with this than the Root Riders. It's probably my favorite attack in the game right now, and it's off meta. It's kind of my thing. I kind of like it. So let me know how it works out for you guys. Use it in some friendly challenges, take it into Legend League, whatever you guys want to do. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one.